Oh my. Here we've made bit of a mistake. Oh. Oh. Whoa!
We mustn't cause a panic.
Sure. It's not like we had a dire supplies shortage on our hands before this happened.
What do I tell the High Enchanter? The Guild will want...
Enough. We won't discuss this further. Not in front of our guests.
Oh.
Identify yourselves.
Aurea Harpene, or Silverbeak, as I'm known among Weaver circles. This is my band, and beside me is our acting point.
Bryn. And you are?
Khan Stunild, Eye of the Enclave. My colleagues are the Spindle and the Axle, representatives of the Enchanting and Crafting Guilds. Who sent you?
Sent us?
Taza? Renland? Udea? The Enclave is the envy of the Maida for its magical prowess. Clearly one of those nations has finally grown a spine and decided to take it for themselves in our moment of weakness.
Moment. No one sent us. We came here by accident.
What kind of fool do you take me for? You expect me to believe that you bypassed our veil, infiltrated our loom gates, and breached asylum without a national power backing you?
When you put it that way.
This is a misunderstanding. We're Weavers, like you. There was a brief opportunity to enter the Enclave for the first time in decades, and we took it. Everything we've done since we arrived has been to uncover what happened here after the Surge. And to find you.
If that is true, have you really no inkling of the trouble you've caused?
Nope.
No.
Your reckless conduct has unleashed an enemy that nearly destroyed us 27 years ago.
The Surgeborn. They first appeared a little over a decade after the Veil went up.
Where did they come from?
No one knows. But they arrived in the Underworks before making their way to the surface.
Where they left a trail of destruction in their wake and wreaked havoc on the Enclave.
Causing casualties to rise.
And so I called for a retreat here, saving countless lives. We sealed the Surgeborn in the Underworks for good.
Until
now.
Now! Yay! Okay. Thoughts? I'm considering starting this, but was afraid of Dragon Age level dialogue. Oh! No. You don't need to be worried about that here. No. This game has good to good plus writing. Yes. It's not, you know, Baldur's Gate 3. It's not Rogue Trader. It's not like, you know, the writing is not the centerpiece. But there has not been any point where I'm like, oh, this is lame, or oh, that was bad. Like, which I was, you know, every other line in DAV. So no, it's nothing like that. No, this dialogue is not only fine, but the people voice acting the dialogue are way above average. So yeah, no, it's been just fine to significantly above average. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, why didn't you talk to us when we got here?
We've been here a little while now. Don't you think all of this could have been avoided if you'd properly said hello?
She's right.
This is hardly our fault.
Look, Surgeborn or not, we had no choice but to remove the barrier. Though, I suppose we owe you thanks for warning us about the floods.
Oh.
Who
Ed Boy.
warned you?
The girl is
You
Philippa
did.
Eilhart from Witcher.
Did we?
The bird girl. Yep.
I'll deal with you later.
Oh.
While we can agree Arakim breached no contact protocol, it has proven to be the right decision. The floods were growing worse, and now they have stopped. Even if fixing them has introduced a new problem.
One my band would be more than happy to help you solve.
Ha! Work together.
Sorry to
Work
interrupt.
together.
You mentioned your last name earlier. Any relation to Shireen Harpene?
She was my mother. You know who she is?
Of course! I mean, before my time, obviously, but she's still renowned in the Enchanting Guild. Her work is remarkable. There's a statue of her in Denevron, you know?
Oh. I can't believe she didn't mention that.
There is so much I'd love to ask you, but for now, Aurea comes from a long bloodline of outstanding and renowned weavers. Shouldn't that buy her band some grace?
All right. Your presence in the outskirts will be tolerated. Nothing more.
Oh, he seems nice.
What about the Surgeborn?
What about them?
Shouldn't we work together to deal with them?
We could use the help.
The Surgeborn are a problem for anyone in the outskirts, not us. Cassidan's Hold is a fortress.
The scouts do head into the outskirts to scavenge for supplies.
We'll take our own precautions. Speaking of, we have pressing matters to attend to.
But
Enough! My word is final.
Bryn, the one that led us here is clearly the one that warned us. Try to talk to him before we leave. Maybe he's willing to work with us.
Will do.
Oh, man. Cool. So we got like all new stuff here. Oh, we got a whole new case and everything. Voices echoing. Support staff working in the lower halls of the hold. I was wondering if they were gonna like have us meet more characters. This is super cool, man. Yeah, I'm totally here for this. A strange skull labeled Tobias. Okay. Sorry, Tobias.
Hey, Arakim, was it?
oh, just call me Arik.
Well, Arik, I never got a chance
Of course,
to thank
he's
you,
dashingly handsome.
you know,
'Cause
for
everyone is.
grabbing me before I fell to my death.
I think you had it. Besides, I couldn't let you plummet into a chasm. The Eye is pretty peeved with me, but hey, that's just a bonus.
You don't seem fond of him.
You and the Eye don't seem to get along very well.
What gave it away? The mutual contempt. The Eye doesn't like anyone who shows initiative or challenges him. Unfortunately, those are my main qualities. And I suspect he perceives them in you, too.
Yeah, I didn't get the impression he's my biggest fan. Will you be in trouble for saving us?
I'd worry if he ever decided to get off his throne and do something about it. But he finds that throne very comfortable.
Almost sounds like he's happy.
So, are you glad we're here?
I'm thrilled you're here.
I have to say, I'm surprised.
Oh, yeah. Sorry for all that cloak and dagger stuff earlier. Khan Stanild had me on strict orders not to make contact with your Weaver band. But it was the right call. From what I just saw, your presence here is having an impact.
How so?
Notice how the Axel took my side against the Eye earlier. That never happens. And the Spindle is as quiet as a mouse most of the time, but not today.
Uh-huh. So these are big changes.
It might not sound like much, but they're excited you're here. Stanild can tell too. That's why he backed down so easily. And that's why I'm glad you're here.
People with horns in their heads, how do they sleep? Carefully.
So you're not upset that I breached Asylum, like your colleagues?
I've been pushing to do something about the Surgeborn for years now. Setting them free wasn't great, but sealing them in the underworks indefinitely was never a good solution. Frankly, I think Khan Stanild is just annoyed you undid his one claim to fame. I guarantee he has no plans to do anything about the Surgeborn now that they're free.
You don't think he sees them as a threat?
He's got his head in the sand about a lot of things.
You seem awfully trusting of us, considering the terrible first impression we've made.
It must be frustrating being horny all the time.
The first time we met, so let's call it even.
Sure.
We'll allow it.
Maybe you know everything
Okay.
already then, but have you got any questions for me?
Just one. Why are you here?
Decades of war across the Maida followed after the Surge. Magic and Weavers were blamed for all of it. Without the Enclave as a stabilizing force, it's as if the world outside has splintered into factions, divided by chaos and fear. Not to mention the lands surrounding the Veil are completely shrouded in tangles. I'm here to bring down the Veil, and play a small part in restoring the Maida Basin to what it was before the Surge.
Wow. That's a big picture vision if I
Yeah,
ever
it
had
is.
one. If that's truly what you want, then dealing with the Surgeborn is the first step. Ever since the Veil went up, our people have been in crisis. They've spent so long in it, they're afraid to do what it takes to get out. It doesn't help that some have benefited off that same crisis.
Who?
Who always benefits? The very top. Our leaders are too preoccupied with their own concerns to form a unified front against the Surgeborn.
Such as?
The Spindle is obsessed with getting the Arcs functional again. She believes that will help us regain control. And the Axle is too stressed about our supply shortage right now. But, if their concerns were handled, they could pressure the Eye to finally address the Surgeborn.
That sounds like an opportunity. And are you a representative yourself? Do you have sway?
Representative, yes. Sway? No. I represent the Scouts, meaning I'm at the meetings, but I don't have the title to back me up. The Scouts were once points like you, but our role has changed since the Veil went up. We were effectively drafted into scavenging for food and supplies. It made sense following the Surge, but it's been years. Recently, we've even been separated from Cassidon's hold and the remaining civilians. Anyway, it's the guild
Wait, what?
leaders who will need to pressure Khan Stanild into dealing with the Surgeborn, which is what needs to happen before we can even think about tackling the Veil.
Okay.
Sounds like I've got some palms to grease.
Yuck. But yes, I'll come by your camp later. We'll be able to speak more freely there.
Oh, this isn't my permanent place. I thought we were moving here. That's too bad. Oh.
What is that about?
The Eye isn't one for idle chit-chat. That's worth watching.
Talk to you back at our camp.
You got it.
Yeah,
Seth, you all right?
No. I mean, yes. I'm fine.
You sure?
Bryn, the rest of us are heading out. See you back at camp.
I got to go.
Uh-oh. Hey, Agamir, where did you read that? Agamir says, sounds like there's some sort of, quote, layoff at BioWare. Oh. Hello everyone, today we are turning towards the future and preparing for the next chapter in BioWare's story. As we announced in August 2023, we're changing how we build games to meet the needs of our upcoming projects and hold ourselves to the highest quality standards. Like they said in 2023, before Veilguard. Now that Dragon Age of Veilguard has been released, a core team at BioWare is developing the next Mass Effect game under the leadership of veterans from the original trilogy, including Mike Gamble, Preston, Wadamanrik, Derek Watts, Parrish Lay, and others. In keeping with our fierce commitment to innovating during the development and delivery of Mass Effect, we have challenged ourselves to think deeply about delivering the best experience to our fans. We are taking this opportunity between full development cycles to reimagine how we work at BioWare. Given this stage of development, we don't require support from the full studio. We have incredible talent here at BioWare, and so we have worked diligently over the past few months to match many of our colleagues with other teams at EA that had open roles that were a strong fit. Today's news will see BioWare become a more agile, focused studio that produces unforgettable RPGs. Okay, so they had a big layoff at BioWare, but they were able to find them jobs in other places under the EA umbrella. Okay. So that's what that is. They had major layoffs because of Dragon Age the Veilguard, but they are moving those people to other places in EA. So hopefully no one will lose their jobs. So, okay. Hopefully that's good, and hopefully everyone lands on their feet. The only, of course, huge red flag there is that EA frequently closes down their studios. So God only knows if the people's job security is safe where they're going. But yeah. That's unfortunate, man. I mean, that's unfortunate, but I feel like we all knew it was going to happen. Like we knew there was going to be fallout from Dragon Age. We knew there was. So the fact that there was, and that everyone still has a job, is kind of a win. I mean, that could be a lot worse. So, yeah. Huh. My only hope, my hope of hopes, my super hope, is that BioWare realizes they can't do what they did for Dragon Age again. They can't do it. They need to go the opposite direction. Instead of taking their franchises and trying to make them so watered down, general, and mainstream that everyone can play them, instead of doing that, like with what they tried to do with DAV, which essentially, in a lot of ways, ruined the Dragon Age part of that game, what they need to do is realize that they have hundreds of thousands of dedicated fans that loved the first versions of these games. I'm talking about Mass Effect now. And we want more of that. We don't want you to change the tone for young adults. We don't want you to put in a bunch of stuff from the current day. We don't want you to get more relaxed with the dialect and use current day words. Nobody wants that. like whoever that's the direction they took DAV, and it failed essentially. Like that DAV should have been a Baldur's Gate 3 competitor. It should have been like the next Dragon Age. Instead, it became what it was, which was this generalized, homogenized, not nearly as fun or interesting product. So, yeah, man, I hope the people making the decisions are reading the writing on the wall, because you can't really write it in a larger font at this point. Like, gamers are screaming for that. So it's just like, my God, man. Woof. We'll see. BioWare, instructions unclear, making the next Mass Effect a live service mobile game with NFTs. Yeah, I know, right? I know. Yeah, I gotta say, if they screw up Mass Effect, I think that's it for BioWare. Like, DAV was a nail in the coffin. It's up to them if they're gonna pry that nail out and write the course of the ship, or if they're just gonna lean into it. And yeah, if the next Mass Effect sucks, there's no question EA is gonna shutter that company. No question. So, we're telling you what we'll buy. I hope you're listening. We're trying to help you. Like, don't know what to tell you. We're trying to help you, BioWare.
So, you.
Me?
The one causing trouble. The one poking into corners. The one who hasn't the good sense to leave well enough alone.
Had you allowed Arakim to reach out to us sooner, this could have been avoided.
Arakim has a proven record of poor judgment on matters of protocol. I will not be lectured by the person who put us all at risk on how best to handle our security.
Who is this voice
But
actor?
I'm being impolite. Let us start afresh, shall we? Please, share what you hope to accomplish by loitering around.
I know who
the
this
hole.
is. I know this voice. I can't place it though, but it's so familiar. Who is this voice actor? It's not Asterion. No. Does anyone know? No, it's not Asterion. There's no way. It's not Neil Newbaum, is it? No, it's way too muted. Neil Newbaum can't give a performance like this. There's not enough flair. David Annan. I ignorantly do not know that name offhand. I feel like I should. Oh. He was Barnabas Basil in Witcher 3. They got a lot of Witcher 3 voice actors. He was in the Talos Principle 2. He was in Diablo 4. Who was he in Diablo 4? Oh, he was additional voices. He was Louis the 16th in Steel Rising. He was the Madman in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. This guy's been in a lot of stuff. He's done a ton of acting. That's probably why his voice sounds so familiar. I've seen a lot of this stuff. He was in Call of Heroes 2. He was in The Witcher. He was Deathmold in Witcher 2. That may be where I know him from. He was Deathmold in Witcher 2. How fun. Okay. Cool. That's great. All right. Let's see. Here.
Weavers outside the Veil have been hoping the Enclave would be a bastion of lost arts. And it's clear that's not the case. Still, there is history and expertise to be found here. Even if it takes our band ages to piece it together, it's worth restoring.
I shudder to think we have disappointed the cart pullers out there selling our collective skills like mercenaries. Perhaps they could write us a sternly worded letter. Still, your point is well made. Much was lost in the Surge, and very little has been recovered.
Co-voice acting when?
Though I look forward to seeing what knowledge outsiders can recover that the Enclave's leading enchanters cannot.
I've done a couple things.
Like it or not, I'm here to help.
The Enclave stands on a blade's edge. Stretch our resources too thin on risky ventures, and we face collapse. Certain elements of our population call for action, for bold purpose.
Justice for Gary, that's right. Thank you.
What purpose is bolder than survival?
Well,
purely rhetorical. We must survive.
Don't answer that.
Make considered, careful moves if we are to do so. There is no sacrifice too great towards that goal. You, at least, understand the precarity of our situation. Now understand the necessity of our caution.
I do, but...
Thank you for your time. You may go.
Goodbye.
You may go.
Okay. Is it just me, or does this seem like Fable at home? Fable? No. Not much about this game is Fable-y. Yeah.
all this wreckage scattered throughout the room.
Not from the gameplay or anything.
Why haven't you guys cleaned it up?
Khan Stanild ordered us not to.
And that's because he wants to keep it messy?
Correct. Speaking frankly, my impression is that he wanted any visitors to feel as if we were still in a major state of crisis. Though visitors are few and far between. Upper government officials only, all of whom are working from offices with roofs. We are the lucky few over here, it seems. What a privilege it is to work in a building that is open to the weather. I understand the motivation of wanting to wait until we'd found everyone a place to live. But we achieved that 20 years ago. Thousands of survivors rehomed. And yet, I still have to step over puddles to get to my desk.
I like it. Interdiction. Dude, this is such a cool model. I like it.
I am simply telling you, as the foremost leader of the Enclave, that I don't want you getting distracted.
Can you clarify what you mean by that?
You know exactly what I mean. Eyes down, know your place. Focus on your own problems. Organize your little craftspeople. Keep the wheels of civilized society greased. And don't dare to presume you know better than me.
If you have a problem with my performance, you are welcome to gather feedback from the people who elected me. They may have a clearer understanding of what I bring to the table.
We'll continue this conversation later.
Hirun, Cohh, allow me to formally introduce you to Bryn, the Weaver Band's point.
You're the Axel, right? Arakim says you're a good person to know.
I am. My given name is Hirun, as Arakim said, but you may refer to me as Khan Arteme. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, despite the circumstances. And I wish they were better circumstances. The new Surgeborn threat requires us to realign our priorities. Some are a little slower on that than others.
If there's anything we can do to move things along, I'm at your disposal.
What about the supply shortage? I've seen her in combat. She's better than any of us.
What's her help look like? I'd prefer if she could avoid unleashing another apocalypse on us.
We didn't bring a lot with us, but if there's anything we can provide to you, our quartermaster, Kasmin, will be happy to help. A decade working the maiden shipping lanes turned her hard as Khan steel.
She sounds lovely. But unfortunately, we're supplying 10,000 people, not 7 weavers and their pack beast. And I doubt you'd have enough on your caravan to make much of a difference. Fortunately, there's a silver lining to your Surgeborn mess that could solve the problem.
Count me in.
Right. With the Surgeborn unleashed, we're anticipating casualties. However, there's a restricted area in the underworks that we lost access to decades ago when the Eye sealed it. The Institute. An arcane laboratory where the Enclave conducted its enchantment research, among other projects. Inside the Institute lies a significant supply cache. Its contents will be enough to keep us going, for the time being. If the notes the previous Axel left me are accurate, though, there's an additional complication.
Any insider info on Subnautica 2?
Of course.
Not from here.
The Surgeborn secure territory by building structures, akin to insect hives.
Oh, good.
The Institute is likely overrun with them, and has been for 20-odd years.
So, the Surgeborn are a long-standing threat to the Enclave.
I wish I were old enough to remember what it was like to live without the fear of the Surgeborn. As a child, I sat awake every night worrying about them. They were terrifying. Knowing what I know now, I should have been even more scared.
I'm sorry you went through that. It must have been horrible.
Thank you.
All the more reason to actually do something about the problem.
Didn't Subnautica 2 already come out?
Spending our
No.
lives cowering behind the walls of our glorious fortress.
Subnautica Below
You'll hear
Zero
no
came
disagreement
out.
from me.
They made it
Now
clear
that
that
the game
wasn't 2.
board has been upended.
Sounds like I need to clear any Surgeborn hives from the Institute, then.
That'll thin them out enough that my scouts will be able to access the supply cache without much trouble.
Now that Asylum is lifted, we should be able to access the loom gates in the Institute again. I'm going to trust you with this key swatch. It's been gathering dust for over 25 years.
Wow.
Only the Eye would let such a crucial resource sit there for that long.
Yes. If we're clear on everything, I'll get back to work. My list of obligations grows by the minute. Someone has to keep this goddamn fortress running.
Cool. Okay. That wasn't even like the quest we needed to do here yet, so that's a completely different one. Now what is this one? Let's talk first.
Before Asylum, all the loom gates were reset so that the Surgeborn couldn't use them to continue spreading. How did you reconnect to the city?
We tracked down a key swatch to Denevron. Found it in the mayor's home in Poldervale.
Your band is quite resourceful.
I kind of want to do this first one. Okay, here's the deal. I'm going to do this first one, but I am legit concerned that I am going to do some unintentional matchmaking here. But I'm going to do it because I'm interested to see if the devs are going to let us explore that or not. So let's see what happens.
Dom loves discussing magical theory.
Uh-oh.
He would be thrilled to speak with the Enclave's leading enchantress.
That is tempting. But the Eye wouldn't be pleased if he caught me speaking to your band any more than I have to. No offense, but I should really get back to work.
Okay, here we go.
Excuse me, but Arakim mentioned you're the Spindle, a leading representative for the High Arcanists.
Oh, yes, that's correct.
We wanted to formally introduce ourselves. I'm Aurea, as you know. This is Darm, our enchanter, and Bryn, our acting point.
We didn't catch your name earlier. Khan?
Just call me Isla. Is there something I can help you with?
We'd actually like to help you. Apparently you want to restore the Arks.
Shh! Not so loud.
Sorry, that sounds wonderful, but the Eye won't be happy about us collaborating.
Come on.
Here we go.
You must know better than anyone how integral the Arks are to the Enclave. Why let the Eye's political games stand in the way?
I do know that, I mean, and I don't... I do want to fix the Arks, more than anything. I just need you to be quiet about it.
Okay. We'll try, but forgive us if our excitement bubbles over and we forget.
It's Darm. He's the one that might forget.
We know that the Arks began malfunctioning after the Surge.
Is the Eye a political entity? Yes.
Any
It's just a
idea
political
what caused
station.
the other malfunctions?
Some theories, but nothing solid. Anyone who knew how to create arcs, let alone fix them, died before I was born.
Oh.
I've tinkered with an inactive arc that's lying near the Grand Gate, but it would make a world of difference if I could study a resonance that was freshly harvested from a great arc's pattern.
Consider it done.
Bryn's got you covered. She has a knack for harvesting great archons.
You'll have it in no time.
If you're sure, I certainly would appreciate it. With discretion, of course.
Right.
We've been talking a while. You'd better go.
Wow. B-Bud says, I hope you're being paid to play this. Well, if you see anyone with a sub icon by their name in chat, the answer is yes, I am. Am I being paid by the devs to play this? No. I did do a sponsored stream for this game months and months ago when it was like in a demo phase. But no, the 1.0 and everything I've done in the last week, I haven't done any sponsored stuff. I don't even know if they're doing sponsored stuff for this game. Nope.